Hello, everyone. Good morning, I should say. Whew. So go ahead and you guys can start pedaling. We're a few minutes early, so I'll just give people another couple minutes. Get my computer set up. So it's a good thing that I get on about 10, 15 minutes early, primarily to warm up my CompuTrainer. I swear every day it's like I forget something. Last week I forgot to turn on the fan. So today when I was warming up, I looked down, no water bottle. I was like, oh man. Luckily I had a few extra minutes, so I have a water bottle. I have a feeling I'm gonna need one. Okay, where are we at? Are we at 7 yet? One more minute. Hi, Marion. I think that's you. This is how I read the screen. Wait. So today's ride is like 46 minutes. It'll be a little bit more. Hey, Charmaine. I don't know if you're always on here. I know Christine's a regular. Hey, Charmaine, I'm doing my shakeout video for you later today after I take a shower. All right, let's do it. It's almost 7. Should I wait till my phone turns to 7? So if you haven't started warming up, just get yourself in an easy gear. Do a minute or so in a very easy gear if you're just waking up. Okay, here we go. Ready? Starting. Official 9-minute warm-up is underway. And then after about a minute or so in an easy gear, you can just switch to one gear harder, start to slowly bring up that intensity. So 9-minute warm-up, 3 sets of 30 seconds high cadence, 30 seconds rest. And then we're doing 5 sets of 4 minutes with 2 minutes rest. So that's a total of 30 minutes. Last week we did this 4x4, but we're going to change the intensity this week. So it actually shouldn't be really that much harder than last week because we're going to lower the intensity a little bit. Hello. There's my wife. She's getting ready to do yoga.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to yoga mat.
So we're going to work between, I know that most of you don't have power, but if you had a power meter, or if you have a power meter, we're going to work between 75 and 85% FTP. See, I forgot to turn on my CompuTrainer again. Now it's on. 75 to 85% of FTP. So in terms of perceived exertion, 75% is an area that most people spend the majority of their time in, which isn't necessarily great. But you should be able to identify what 75% feels like pretty easily because it's a zone that's just right above your aerobic zone. It's that zone where people feel like they're really doing something because it's a little bit harder than going, kind of moderate. The breathing becomes a little bit labored, but it's not that labored. Like you can carry on a conversation, maybe 5, 6, 7 words, and there's a little pause for a breath. So as opposed to aerobic, where you can just talk and talk and talk and talk, it's a little bit harder. And so that's where most people tend to exercise in because you feel like you're doing, good work, and it's not too hard. So for today, that's the low end of what we're going to do. The high end would be, I like to call it moderately hard plus. So between moderately hard and hard. It's not hard. If you get into hard, that's too hard. Another way of looking at it is what's uncomfortable. So let's say if we look at uncomfortable, there's slightly easier than uncomfortable, kind of solidly uncomfortable and a little bit harder than uncomfortable, right? And then beyond that is hard. So we're in that uncomfortable range. So if you can find that, if you haven't already, switch gears, make it a little harder. But if you can, we want to play around with that range, right? So there's 5 sets. We're going to do all the odd ones at 75% FTP, so the low end of that range. We're going to do number 2 at 85%. So that's going to be that, top end before it gets to hard, but definitely very uncomfortable. And then we're going to do number 4 at 80%. So that's kind of like right in the middle of uncomfortableness. So you should be able to notice a perceptible bump in exercise intensity and perceived exertion. Those 75% ones shouldn't really be that terrible. It's really, we're right on the, so your intensity and your exertion is like this line that kind of goes up slowly. And then, right here is about 75%, and then it starts to ramp up a little bit faster. So we're right on that edge at 75%, just right at kind of like, or slightly above our aerobic, which for aerobically, you can go, upper end aerobic, you can definitely go 3 hours. Lower end aerobic, you can go days, right? So we're up at that upper end, a little bit above the upper end of aerobic. So what I'm saying is it's not that hard. So in many ways, today's workout shouldn't necessarily be that hard, because I know that we went after it last week with only 4 sets. So it also brings me to a point. I have 4 more minutes to kill for the warm up. Make sure you keep switching to a little bit harder gear. Keep your intensity raising through the warm up. Let's say you took a couple weeks or workouts back. I mentioned you could take a workout and do it up to 11 times and see performance benefit. So training wise, just general training notes. If you like this type of workout, you can take this one workout and you could add progressive overload over a period of weeks. So let's say you do, first one, you do 5 sets of 4 minutes, all at that 75% FTP, right? And then next week, you make the 5th set 80%. So you 4 75, 1 at 80. The week after that, you could make 2 of the sets at 80%, right? So you can see already it's going to take you 5 weeks before you get all 5 sets at 80% FTP. You do start again, you could go 5 or 4 at 80%, 1 at 85%. So again, another 5 weeks. So that's 10, 11 weeks right there, just by changing just one of those blocks of 4 minutes by slightly increasing the intensity week over week. And that's what we call progressive overload, in that your body is going to adapt to the workload that you give it, and it's going to plateau. So if you want to keep improving, you just slightly raise, whether it's intensity or duration or frequency, the number of times you work out per week. But if you just keep affecting one of those variables, your fitness will continue to improve. The other trick is not to do too much too soon. So that's when you get injured, when you try to ramp up too quickly. So if you just do it incrementally, typically you'll see an improvement without really risking the injury. Okay. So that's that. Hopefully you guys are feeling pretty warmed up. I'm going to get into my big chain ring, but into a slightly easier gear. Pay attention to your cadence. So today in Seattle, it's raining. So a workout like this is great, right? Because Well, one, it's early in the morning, so it'll be over soon. Then we can go about our day, but takes all the unpleasantness of thinking to ride outside. I got out yesterday on a ride, and it was a little cold and not bad compared to what we've been training in, but there was nobody out just because I think it wasn't sunny. So anyway, inside today. All right, we're 8 minutes and 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, we're gonna do 30 seconds high cadence. So pick a gear that feels good. You might have to switch one gear harder when we start. If you have cadence on your bike, ideally you want to get up to like around 100 RPMs or even above. Okay, here we go in 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds, high cadence. You can see on the screen, you can see my knees going a little bit faster. Make sure that you're not collapsed in your handlebars, so bring your belly button to your spine. Try to eliminate any bouncing. Three, 2, 1, 30 seconds easy. You can stay in the same gear and just slow your knees down, your legs down. Think about that choice of gears. Do you want to go up? Next time, you want to stay right there. If your cadence was not high enough and you felt a lot of resistance, and you might want to go to easier gear. If it felt too easy, you might want to go to harder gear. Okay, that was one. Coming up on number 2, 2 seconds, ready. Here we go. Give your fingers a little wiggle. That kind of helps you know that you're not slammed into the handlebars. All right, 3 more seconds. All right, 30 seconds easy. 2 down, 1 to go. And then we're gonna get into the 5x4 minutes. Again, that first one is just right above that aerobic zone, so it's not terribly hard. If you do have like watts or virtual watts, it's helpful to know what those numbers are that you're shooting for. Okay, ready? Here we go, 30 seconds. So if you have those targets and you're looking at your computer, it helps you in those 4 minutes to also correlate that to your perceived exertion. Make sure that they're sort of synced up. All right, 30 seconds easy. So the other nice thing about doing this first one at 75% or just, the low end of uncomfortable, is it really acts as a continuation of warm up. So when we do these shorter workouts, the warm-up's typically shorter. So easing into the workout sometimes can be a good thing too. All right, you guys ready? We're gonna go for 4 minutes, right at that low end of uncomfortable. As soon as my computer comes back on. Okay, here we go, 4 minutes. Work with your cadence as well and try to get it closer to 90. My computer's doing all kinds of crazy things. Switch gears. You want to bring up the intensity a little bit. In my case, my power numbers are lower than I'd like them to be, so just switch a couple gears and bring them up. So one difference too, like right now I feel moderate tension in the pedal stroke, moderate resistance, whereas like on the next one, should feel more resistance. So that's another way of we're thinking about tapping into that perceived exertion. Is how does that pedal stroke feel? But if you're really tired right now, you might be going too hard, because this is a effort that you should be able to go for quite a ways. So if it doesn't feel like you can go, more than an hour, you're probably going too fast. So hopefully that'll help give you some parameters. And of course, you might be like, today you really wanted to get after it. You want to make all these, the odd number ones higher, 80%, 85%, harder breathing rate, then by all means, go for it. If you're just getting started, you may want to make them all 75%. So there's always ways you can make a workout fit your particular training schedule and needs. All right, 3 minutes in. One thing you can do too, and I actually screwed this up today, most Garmin's, you can have different settings. So I have a profile that's called trainer, and all my numbers are what I want to see when I'm on the trainer. And then I have another profile for my bike for riding outside, and those numbers are what I want to see outside. So it's a little different for me right now because I forgot to hit trainer in my profile, but still make it work. 5 more seconds. All right, 2 minutes easy. So what's great about the profile, so switch to an easier gear. There should be very little resistance in your legs and your pedal stroke. Get some water, towel off. Okay. So profiles are great because, like, say for running, you can have a profile that's set up for long runs where maybe you're not interested in necessarily seeing lap splits, but you want to see more your average pace, average heart rate, distance, things like that. And then you could have a profile that could be for trail running, where you want to see your elevation or your how much you ascent and descent. You maybe want to see heading because you're on a trail. There might be things that are like, hey, this was really specific to trails. So you can set up a profile for that. Same thing with cycling. For this, because it's a cycle Garmin, cycle computer, I also have a race profile. So that way, when I'm doing a race, if I go to race profile, I don't have to flip through the different screens that I would see when I'm training. I'm just looking at those metrics that I want to see when I'm racing. Because when I'm racing, I want everything to be less data, maybe looking at my cadence, heart rate, if I have it on, average power, current power, speed, average speed. So things like that, so I can know what I'm doing very specifically in the race. So anyway, if you haven't investigated profiles within your GPS, take a look at that. It's under settings. And then you just have to remember to choose it. So my screens are a little different, but see, every day I forget something. All right, we're going in 5 seconds. Now this one's going to be tough, right? This is going to be 85%. So this is solidly uncomfortable. Here we go. So get your cadence up. Once you get your cadence up, start shifting gears. So this is going to be the toughest 4 minutes of the 20 minutes of work, but it'll make the others feel easier. So right out of the gate, you should feel more resistance in the pedal stroke. I can feel it. You can probably hear it already 30 seconds in, and my breathing is very much labored. So I'm going to shut up. This is actually how I know I'm working closer to where I want to be, because I don't want to talk. All right, halfway. Oh, man. All right, 1 minute left. On these really hard ones, sometimes it's a good thing just to toggle between 2 gears. Something a little harder, and then when you get burnt out, something a little easier. Slight recovery, get your cadence back up. Ten seconds. All right, 2 minutes easy. Whew. So if you're following along with the intensities that I recommend, and you should definitely feel much more work than first one. And if you're comparing it to Monday, the intensity is lower, but it was still pretty hard because we went 4 minutes, right? So the longer we go, it's going to add to that effort. But we definitely went harder on Monday, just not as long. So good news is, in another minute 20 recovery, we're back to 75%, or just just on the easier side of uncomfortable. But breathing will still get up to that, where you can talk, but just slightly broken sentences. Again, to work out like this, you should go through a whole bottle. So we are probably halfway through. So you can look at your bottle, and if it's not halfway through, maybe drink a little more. One thing I'm curious about, because 30 seconds, when you grab your bottle, I do this instinctively, and I wonder if other people naturally do it, but I always push it into my chest, work as like a second hand to slide the hand down, and it just makes it really quick to grab. And then when I put it back, a lot of times I pin it and work my hand up. But it's one of those things like, do other people do that? Okay, we're going in 5 seconds. Here we go. 4 minutes, lower end. Get in your gear, get your cadence up. Tap into that feeling in your legs, the resistance of the pedal stroke. You should definitely notice, while there is definitely some resistance there, it isn't near what it was on that last set. Definitely feels a lot easier. So that's good. I just switch up my music. This is where, if you have aero bars on your bike, this is a great intensity. I don't have aero bars, but it's the perfect intensity for aero bars. All right, 1 minute left. 15 seconds. All right, ready? 2 minutes easy. Nice. So, certainly was a lot easier than the one before. Number 4 coming up. So if you're following along at home, take a second to think about how hard that number 2 felt and where number 3 felt, and see if you can pick something that's in between that harder one and that easier one. Whew. I'm definitely sweating. We're going in 15 seconds. All right, first thing when we get started is bring your cadence up and then switch gears. Ready? Here we go. Get your cadence above 90. Then settle into your gear. If you want to, you can play around with that toggling between, the harder one and then one gear easier. So just give you like a mini recovery, but you're still working hard. So think about how you want it to feel, and keep changing gears and spinning your pedals to get to that place. All right, halfway. Another thing you might notice and playing around with these efforts is how much concentration it takes. Like I notice right now that it doesn't take nearly the same kind of concentration it did when it was harder in number 2, but it certainly takes more than number 1 and 3, where there was really very little for me, and now there's kind of solid, thinking about it so I don't go too easy, but still not what was required when we went harder. So pay attention to the resistance in your legs, the breathing in your lungs, the concentration. Those are all ways to work with perceived exertion. Tap into what an effort feels like, as is your ability to talk or not talk. 10 seconds. All right, 2 minutes easy. So take the tension out of the pedal stroke now. Nice job. One more. So decision point. If you're like, hey man, I really feel like I got a workout, bump up the last one to 85% to a little bit above uncomfortable. If you're feeling like you got a good workout, feel free to go back down to that 75% on the last one. And maybe you want to do a repeat of what we just did. So opportunity for everybody to do their thing here. One more minute, easy. So every once in a while when you're riding outside, even here on a longer workout, like if you want to stand up and kind of stretch your low back and your legs, just switch into the big chain ring so you have more resistance on the pedals. And then just take a few pedal strokes, standing up, sit down, switch gears. You can do that outside too, especially on hills. It can be good to practice standing up. It'll help switch up your muscle groups, and it'll give you a little more power. So every time you stand up on a hill, you don't want to stand up a lot, but like stand up 4 pedal strokes, 6 pedal strokes, sit back down. You can do that every 2 to 5 minutes, whatever. So as opposed to standing for 5 minutes, which will burn out your legs. But when you stand up on a hill, it's like switching gears. It's like going into a harder gear briefly. So when you sit back down, it picks your cadence up. All right, here we go. Last one. So decide where you want to be at. Get your cadence up. Once you figure out what effort level you're going for, just keep asking yourself how it feels. Ask yourself if you're there. I'm going for more of a repeat of last one. 2 minutes in. Seconds. All right, 2 minutes, easy. Woo. I can feel it in my legs. Good job, everybody. I'm excited. We had 6 people on the ride today. Whew. Exactly, Christine. Whew. Sober. I think you said it. We've been having about 3 people on the ride, so that's great. There's 7 right now, so somebody joined in. And absolutely, if you liked it, send a link to a friend. To do it live, you need the link, and then afterwards I make it public so people can write it afterwards. I don't make it public during, just in case some knucklehead wants to get on here and say stupid stuff. I can't read your comment, Nantha, but I says, ooh, I feel it in the legs too. I need to do this screencasted to a bigger screen. Maybe I'll work on that. All right, make sure you're drinking water or sports drink. You don't typically need calories in an hour workout. I drink Scratch just because I like the taste of it and I drink more. If I only drank water, I wouldn't drink as much. But you don't really need calories in an hour workout, just FYI. So 5 minutes, cool down. It's a great time to work on your pedal stroke. Let's do it. So for the next minute, I want you to really think about sweeping through the bottom of the pedal stroke. So bring your belly button to your spine. Push your glutes, your butt into your seat. Give yourself kind of an anchor point. Think about sweeping from like a 4 o'clock. I don't know which way you're going, but like 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So easy. Sweep through the bottom. Sweep through the bottom. Especially when you have cleats that click in. See if you can feel the bottom of your pedal stroke engaging that cleat and pulling through the bottom of the pedal stroke. So whenever one leg is pulling through, the other leg is going over the top. But right now, just for this drill, just think about pulling through the bottom. If you need to, you can switch to a harder gear. Okay. Now, I want to contrast that with an inefficient pedal stroke. So now just think about being at the top of the pedal stroke and pushing to 3 o'clock. So easy, push, push. You can probably feel your upper body start to rock a little more. You can feel how your pedal stroke is less smooth. You can feel the jerkiness. You can really also feel how much your quads are working. Okay, now go back to pulling through the bottom of the pedal stroke. You can see right away my cadence picks up. So here's me. I'm going back to like just pushing. This is me just pushing. You see there's more jerkiness, 12 to 3. And then as soon as I go to pulling through the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, but my knees pick up. That's my cadence picking up. I feel so much smoother. Okay, now let's put our attention to just the top part of the pedal stroke. So like 11 to 1. So we're not pushing down, we're pushing over the top. Kind of like shearing the top off of a circle maybe, or shearing the corners off of a square. And so again, when you put your attention just to the top part of the pedal stroke, every time the foot's at the top, the opposite foot is pulling at the bottom. So now let's see if we can combine that two and kind of more of an elliptical. So pull at the bottom, push over the top, and see if you can kind of feel that elliptical pattern. Let's do like 30 seconds. So get in a easy enough gear. So let's do like 30 seconds where we just really bring our cadence up. And we do that through pulling through the bottom, pushing over the top. See if you can find those spots in your pedal stroke. Okay, go back to easy. Now, another great way to do it is, and you want to be careful because you're going to have to, it's called one-legged cycling. So you essentially unclip one foot, and then I usually hang it off the trainer so it's out of the way. You can't really see it, but so right now you can see only my one knee moving. So this is one-legged cycling. This will help you find those dead spots, because if your leg goes clunk, and then you got to pull it back through, you might need to be in an easier gear. But when you find those dead spots, the one-legged cycling. So if you ever do one-legged cycling, do the other one too. And then it's good to do 30 seconds or so, just spinning them both out. All right. Anyway, maybe one of these days in the warm-up we'll throw in some one-legged cycling. 20 seconds left. Thanks for joining me, everyone. It's great to see more people. Thanks for saying hi. It's always fun for me to know who's doing the workout, and I love your comments. When it's hard, it's not hard, just feedback's always good. So anyway, thanks a lot. All right, that's it. I'm done. Hopefully so are you, unless you want to keep riding. All right, have a great day. And then next week, Monday, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, I'll send out the links. See ya.